Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
What we did in the last class?
Sir, we did one of the questions from unit vector.
I think we have started back.
So I have a doubt.
Just one minute. Yes, Samaya.
So I have a doubt in one question from the test that was taken day before yesterday. The third question, the graph one.
Read that question.
A drunkard walking in a narrow lane takes 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward, followed again
Okay.
by
Suppose this is a straight path. This is a starting point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is a pit at this particular point on the straight road. A drunken man moves 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. Again, from this point, he will move 5 steps forward to reach 7 and 3 steps backward to reach 4. From this point, 5 steps forward, so it will be at 9, and 3 steps backward, so it will be on 6. Next, 5 steps forward, so it will be on 11. 3 steps backward, so it will be on 8. And from this, if you move 5 steps forward, it will reach on 13. So if you calculate all of these steps in this part, in this part, in this part, and in this part, 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward, so it will be total of 8 meter, 8 meter, 8 meter, 8 meter, and the last part just 5 meter. So if you add all these terms, you'll get 37 meter. Is it clear?
yes, sir.
And each step is 1 second, or the time taken to cover each step is just 1 second. So the total time taken must be 13 seconds. So what is your doubt in this part? How much is the total distance or total time taken?
So I didn't understand the question.
In which a drunkard man is moving along this path, 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. So you will say in each step, he will just cover 2 meters as displacement. And only in the last step, he will move 5 meters long. So subtract this particular part By 5 meter, you will get 8 meter. Till this 8 meter, he moves and come back, he moves and come back. So it will be 2 meter, 2 meter, 2 meter, and 2 meter. It means 4 different subsequent path, and last part will move 5 meter on. So if you add all these steps, you get 37 meter as total distance and 37 seconds as total time taken. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Any more doubt to any one of you?
Sir, for that question, we also have to plot it in a graph, right? XT graph.
Okay, if you want to plot position versus time graph, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. X versus T. So time duration will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36, 37. In the first part, on going from 0 to 5, so he will take 5 seconds and 5 steps forward. So it will be at this point at this given time. On returning back 3 steps backward, so it will be at this instant. Similarly, again 5 steps forward, so it will be along this path. So 2 plus 5 will be 7. 5, 6, 7, so it will be at this point. 8 plus 5 is 13, so time will be at 13 seconds. Like this. Similarly, 3 steps backward. So it will be 13 plus 3 is 16. And 2 plus, so it will be at 4. And so on. 16 plus 5 is 21. And 4 plus 5 is 9. On returning 3 steps backward, you will reach on 24 seconds and at this point. So the graph will be like this. Is it clear, Maria?
Yes, sir.
We have started vector, in which I define you about unit vector, how to represent any vector. What was the last term?
Sir, we then found the direction and did a question for unit vector.
Okay. So next is operation on vector. First is addition of vector. So we have made 2 methods to add any vector. Suppose A is Ax I cap, Ay j cap, Az k cap, a vector having 3 components along their respective coordinate axes. Similarly, B is bx I cap, by j cap, and bz k cap as another vector having three components along x, y, and z axis. So if you add these two terms according to like term and unlike term, or you will say according to principle of homogeneity, A plus B would be equals to x component will be added with x component. Similarly, y will be added with y and z will be added with z. So it will be ax bx along I cap, ay plus by along j cap, and az plus bz along k cap. So this is first method of adding any two vector on the basis of component. So we'll say Cartesian form or algebraic method. Safan, any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Next is analytical method. In this part, I'm defining first, what do you mean by angle between any two vectors? Suppose if you have vector along this direction and another along this direction. So these two vectors must be inclined in two different ways. First along this direction, and second would be along this direction. Similarly, this is your first. So one would be along this direction and the other would be along this direction. A vector or a combination of vectors which having same final point is termed as coterminal vector. Vector having same final point or head. Similarly, in this part, two vectors are originating from same point. So we will say co-initial vector. It means vector having same initial point or starting point. So whenever you have co-initial vector or co-terminal vector, the smaller angle in between them is termed as angle of vector. So for co-initial or co-terminal, the smaller angle will be called as angle of vector. Is it clear to this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Is it done?
No, sir, 1 minute. Done, sir.
Safan, have you done?
Done, sir.
Next is how to slide any vector. Suppose if you have a vector along this direction, so it is represented by length of this arrow and its arrowhead. So if you move along this path, along this path, or along this path, or along this path, without changing its inclination with respect to x-axis and without changing length of this arrow, so this vector will be remain same. So this is sliding of a vector. There is no change in a vector if its length and inclination remains same. So this vector, this vector, this vector, this vector, in any of its sliding movement, it will remain same. So from this, you will say, what would be the equality condition for any two vector? So equality of vector. A vector have two different components. One is called magnitude and second is called direction. So if magnitude of first vector equals to magnitude of second vector and direction of first vector is equals to direction of second vector, then we say these two vectors will be equal. So you'll say A vector will be equals to B vector. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So for equality of any two vectors, there must be equal magnitude and their unit vector must be equal. So this is unit vector which defines direction, and this is magnitude of vector which defines length of this particular arrow. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Done.
Done, sir.
Try to find angle between any two vector. I'm giving you some. Let's say first vector is this. Try to find angle between two vectors. Now, in calculating, I give you some hint how to define. For angle between any two vector, try to define two vector as co-initial vector or co-terminal vector. In this first example, we have first vector along this direction and second vector along this direction. So you may extend this particular vector along this path, keeping its length remains same. This is your first vector and this is your second vector. So you shift this particular vector along its own path without changing its length. So it will be treated as same vector. So now these two vectors will become coterminal vector. Since this angle was 60 degree, so this will be 120 degree. So the angle between these two vectors will be 120 degree. In second example, these two vectors are co-initial. So the angle smaller in between them will be this part. So total complete angle for this will be 360 degree, in which this is 300. So it will be 60 degree. So theta will be 120 for this part and theta will be 60 for this part. Good, Samira. Mariam, read out.
No, sir.
Safan, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sabita, read out.
No, sir.
Have you all done till this part?
Yes, sir.
Done?
So, the,
Mariam?
so in the first question, that 60 degree, we can move that arrow to the left side also, right?
You may move this particular term along its own path. So it will be like this. So these two vectors will become co-initial. So the angle in between them would be this part. On a straight line, total line will be 180 degrees. So this will be 120 degrees as well.
So we can do like this also, no?
So in either of the term, you'll get same answer.
Okay, sir.
Now, next term is how to define addition of two vectors in analytical method. So we have three different rules. First is called triangle law. Second is called parallelogram. Suppose if you have two vectors, first is along this direction, and second is along this direction. Let's say this is A, this is B. So for triangle law, make two vectors as consecutive vector. It means the head of second vector means the tail of second vector must be coinciding on head of first vector. So it is termed as consecutive vector. But the tail of second vector on head of first vector. Then resultant will join from the tail of first to the head of final. Suppose in this part, if you slide this particular term to move at this point, so it will be like this is first vector, and this will be your second vector along this path. A and B. So a vector which joins from the tail of first to the head of final, like this, is termed as resultant of these two vectors. So this is called triangle law. In parallelogram law, arrange any two vector as co-initial vector or co-terminal vector. Arrange the vector as co-initial or co-terminal. So they will form a parallelogram. So the diagonal in between them will be resultant. Suppose this is first vector, that is A, and this is second vector as B. You may draw A along this path as well, and B along this path as well. So this is A, this is B, both originating from same point, so it will be termed as co-initial vector. If you slightly shift this vector along this path, so this will be also A, and if you shift along this path, so this will be also B, this will be co-terminal vector. So as a whole, this will be forming as parallelogram. So the diagonal in between them, from this point to this point, is called a resultant of these two vectors. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this will be A plus B. I'm defining how to check directly without defining parallelogram law and triangle law. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Safan, done.
Done, sir.
Suppose if you have first vector, second vector, and third vector. So in this second example, which will be resultant according to you? Any guess? Maria?
Sir, the angle between R and P.
I'm asking about which one will be resultant between PQR?
R.
Okay. Samira?
No, sir, P.
Samira? Which one will be resultant?
Don't know, sir.
Safan? Any guess? I'm defining you from the last part. In this triangle law, first arrange two vector as consecutive vector. It means the head of first would lie on tail of second. So these two vectors are termed as consecutive vector. So opposite to this will be termed as resultant, or you will say take a point which consisting as head and tail combination. So opposite to this will be termed as resultant. So in this example, we have this point as head-head combination, this point as tail-tail combination, and this point as head-tail combination. So this will be termed as consecutive vector for these two parts. So opposite to this will be resultant. So just check a point having head and tail. Then vector opposite to it will be resultant. So in this part, P will be equals to Q plus R. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
In this example, since all of the vectors are arranged in same manner, these all are arranged in anti-clockwise direction. So from this, you will say if all vectors are arranged in same manner, or you will say as consecutive vector forming closed loop, then their sum will be always 0. So in this part, A plus B plus C will be 0. I'm defining how it will be. Suppose this is C along this path. So if you reverse its direction along this path, so on reversing direction of vector, it will become negative. Now just neglect this and define A, B, and minus C. In these three vectors, this is a point which having a head-tail combination. So opposite to this will be termed as resultant. So you will say minus C will act as a resultant of A and B. So it will be A plus B. Now move this minus sign to the other side. You will get 0 is equals to A plus B plus C. So from here, you can conclude sum of all vectors forming closed path will always be 0. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Safan. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
So what is written in the bracket?
This part.
No, sir, in the bracket, same manner, after same manner.
Is equals to A plus B plus C. If you move this minus C to the other side, you will get 0 in place of it. So it will be 0 is equals to A plus B plus C. Okay, Samara?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Sabita, any doubt till this?
No, sir.
Everyone done to this part? Sabita?
Yes, sir.
Next is polygon law. It is nothing but the extended form of triangle law if you have more than two vectors. Suppose this is first vector, this is second vector, this is third vector, and this is fourth vector. Now suppose in this part, if you have to calculate a plus b, so this will define you a plus b. Similarly, if you have to calculate this plus this, so it will be from this point to this point. And similarly, the final resultant will be from this point to this point. This is vector A, this is vector B, C, D. Along this path, along this path, along this path. So let's say this vector is termed as R1. So according to triangle law, R1 would be equals to A plus B. Similarly, let's say this vector as R2. So R2 will be resultant of C and R1. As R1 is equals to A plus B, so it will be A plus B plus C. Now, let's say this particular term to be R3. So R3 will be resultant of R2 and D. As R2 is equals to this much, so it will be A plus B plus C plus D. Is it clear? So polygon law is nothing but the extended form of triangle law, in which if all vectors are arranged as consecutive vector, then resultant will join from tail of first to the head of last. Is it clear, Samaya?
Yes, sir.
Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Done, sir.
Now, the next term is to define magnitude of resultant. Magnitude of resultant suppose if you have vector along this path, this is vector A having magnitude from this point to this point. Vector B having magnitude from this point to this point. This is extended part of A. And if you draw a vertical line from this point, so they will meet at this point. Now the inclination between A and B is this much. And let's say this is a resultant of A and B. Now let's say this is A, B, C, and D. In triangle ABC, sin theta is equals to perpendicular by hypotenuse. So it will be AB divided by AC. AC is equals to B, so you will get AB is equals to B times sin theta. Similarly, if you take cos theta, so it will be base over hypotenuse, so BC over AC. So BC would be equals to BC times cos theta. Is it clear to this part?
Yes, sir.
Now, in triangle ABD, if you want to calculate AD, just use Pythagoras Theorem. So using Pythagoras Theorem, AD square is equals to AB square plus BD square, and BD will be equals to CD plus BC whole square. AD is R, AB is B times sin theta whole square, CD is A, and BC is B cos theta whole square. So on expanding, you will get D square sine square theta. We have A plus B as whole square, so it will be A square B square plus 2AB. Now, take out common from this and this. You will get A square plus B square as taken out coefficient. So you left with sine square theta plus cos square theta. 2 times of AB cos theta. Sine square plus cos square will be 1. So it will be A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. And here we have R square. So on moving square to the other side, it will become square root. So resultant of into vector is equals to A square plus B square plus 2AB whole under root. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So can you
Just
repeat I got disconnected, sir.
Okay. In last part, I had defined triangle law. Let's say this is first vector as A and this is second vector as B, and their inclination is theta, for which resultant is R. So I have just extended this to this part and drawn vertical from this part. So this will be 90 degree. Now in this triangle, we have theta and B as hypotenuse of this particular triangle. So using this, I have calculated AB. Sin theta is equals to perpendicular over hypotenuse. So AB is equals to B times sin theta. Similarly, I have to calculate BC, which is base of this particular theta. So cos theta is base over hypotenuse. So base is equals to B times cos theta. Now like complete triangle AD R hypotenuse. We have calculated AB perpendicular and base as whole BD. So using Pythagoras theorem, I have just defined all values and got this result. Is it clear, Samira?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Write it down.
Done, sir.
Just one minute. Have you all done till this part?
Yes, sir. Done.
So Farm, any doubt? Aisha? If A is 3 unit and B is 5 unit and theta is 60 degree, find resultant. Just use the formula and simplify it. Good, Smita. Mariam, just check your calculation. A is equals to 3, B is equals to 5, and theta is equals to 60 degrees. Put R is equals to A square B square plus 2AB cos theta. We have A as 3, so on squaring it will be 9. B as 5, so on squaring it will be 25. 2 times A times B, and cos of 60 degrees is equals to half root 100. So this 2 and this 2 will cancel out. 3 into 5 will be 15, plus 25, 40, plus 9, it will be 49 root 100. So it will be just 7 root. Okay, Mariam?
Yes, sir.
Safan, any doubt? Now I'm defining you range of resultant of any two vector. Let's say R is equals to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta root 100. So in first part, if theta is equals to 0 degree, so cos will be maximum as plus 1. So this whole term will be A plus B. So resultant will be maximum as A plus B. Now, if you put theta is equals to 180 degree, so cos of 180 degree will be minus 1. So if you put this term in this part, you will get resultant minimum as A minus B. So from this, you will conclude resultant of any two vector lie from this part to this part. So you will say resultant of two vector will lie from A minus B to A plus B. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Just write it down. Safan, is it clear?
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Babita, have you done?
Yes, sir.
Aisha?
And sir.
The magnitude of vector is 5 and 9. Then which of the following can't be resultant? Try to define which of the following can't be resultant of the above two vectors. First is this and second is this. Defining how to calculate. In this part, first vector is 5 and second vector is 9. So minimum resultant will be the difference of these two vectors, and you have to take only magnitude part. So just subtract larger minus smaller. So it will be 4. And maximum value of this resultant will be 9 plus 5. So it will be 14. Means resultant of these two vectors must lie from 4 to 14. So 3 is out of this range. So this particular term can't be possible. 8 is lying in this part, so it will be possible. 6 is also lying in this part, so it will also be possible. But 15 is not in this particular range, so this can't be possible. So 3 and 15 can't be resultant of these two vectors, but 8 and 6 will be resultant. Good, Samara. Mariam, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Aisha, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, next term is suppose R is equals to A plus B. Let's say R1. And if you want to calculate its resultant or magnitude of this particular part, so it will be A square B square plus of 2AB cos theta root under. Now, if you want to calculate this particular term for identical vector, let's say for identical vector, it means magnitude of A and B would be equal. So if you put this down in this expression, you will get R1 is equals to 2 times of A cos theta by 2. Is it clear? Should I derive this part from where I got this result from this part to this part?
Yes, sir.
R1 is equals to A square plus 2 times of A square cos theta root under. So A square will be 2 times of A square plus 2 times of A square cos theta root under. If you take out common 2A square, so it will be 2A square plus 1 plus cos theta whole root under. 1 plus cos theta is similar to cos 2 theta. So this whole term will become 2 times of A square times 2 times cos square theta by 2 whole root. So 2 and 2, 4. So if you are taking square root, so it will be 2. A square on taking square root, so it will be A, and cos square theta on taking the square root, so it will be cos theta. So you will get 2 times of A cos theta by 2 as your final result. I'm defining you from how you get this part to this part. Just 1 minute. In trigonometric part, I define you about cos 2 theta. Just 1 minute. Just write it down. I'm coming in just 1 minute. Hello? You all have written this?
Yes, sir.
In the numeric part, I defined you how to calculate cos 2 theta. So it was cos square theta minus sine square theta. Take this term into only cos or only sine. So it will be times of cos square theta minus 1 or 1 minus 2 times of sine square theta. So if you move this 1 to the other side, you will get 1 plus cos 2 theta is equals to 2 times of cos square theta. Now in this part, if you have 2 theta, you will get theta here. So similarly, if you move this or if you make this term as theta, so this will become 2 times of cos square theta by 2. So I have just used this part. And similarly, if you solve for this term, you will get 2 times of sine square theta by 2 is equals to 1 minus cos theta. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Samara, any doubt?
No, sir.
Similarly, if you solve for difference part, suppose R2 is equals to A minus B. So magnitude of resultant would be A square B square minus of 2AB cos theta root under. And for identical vector, it means A is equals to B. If you simplify it, you'll get R2 is equals to 2 times of A into sine theta by 2. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Sabita, is it clear to this part? Safan,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Done, sir.
just write it down and try to solve. If A plus B mod equals to A minus B mod, find theta. A plus B mod is magnitude of sum of two vector. A minus B mod is magnitude of difference of vector. So it will be root under A square B square 2AB cos theta, and it will be root under A square B square minus 2AB cos theta. Just simplify this term, you will get theta. Try to solve. Should I solve this? Or you all are solving? Mariam? Just squaring both sides. So you on squaring both sides, you get a square b square plus 2ab cos theta on left hand side, a square b square minus 2ab cos theta on right hand side. Now move all term to left hand side, you will get a square b square plus of 2ab cos theta. And if you move this down to left hand side, you will get minus of a square b square plus of 2ab cos theta is equals to 0. Now, if you simplify it, a square and a square will cancel out, b square and b square will cancel out. So 2ab cos theta and 2ab cos theta will become 4ab into cos theta is equals to 0. Now, this is 4a and b. These all are any quantity which can't be 0. So you're left with only this cos theta. So you will say cos theta will be equals to 0. Then try to define theta for which cos theta will be 0. So it will be 90 degrees. Is it clear, Samara?
Yes, sir.
Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Smita,
Done, sir.
Aisha, done?
Done, sir.
Now, next define direction of resultant. This was A. This was resultant. This as B. And inclination in between them is theta. We have to calculate inclination of this resultant with respect to this x-axis. So it will be just beta. So if you calculate tan beta in triangle ABD, this is A, B, C, and B, in which I defined in last part, AB is equals to B times sine theta, and BC is equals to B times cos theta. So if we calculate tan beta, which is perpendicular over base, so it will be divided by base. You will get B times sine theta divided by A plus B cos theta is equals to tan beta. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, let's say this particular angle is alpha, this is beta, and this is theta. So I'm defining you another relation to define ABC, which is called Learnivio's theorem. A divided by B divided by R divided by. So we have this vector as A. So opposite to this is alpha. So it will be sine alpha. We have this as B. So opposite to this particular term is beta. So it will be sine beta. And this is R. So opposite to this is theta. So it will be sine theta. So if you either calculate using resultant of any two vector or just use this formula to define ABC on the basis of alpha, beta, and theta. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
I will explain about this particular term more in chapter number 5, that is Newton's law of motion. Just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Sabita, are we done?
Yes, sir.
So this was all about addition of any two vector. Next is called resolution of vector. Resolution means splitting or breaking down of a vector into their respective component. So it is nothing but the splitting of vector into their component is called resolution. I'm defining you how to resolve or split a vector into their respective component. First is called two-dimensional splitting. Let's say this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is any vector A, having magnitude from this point to this point as length of arrow as A, inclined at some angle theta. So if you draw a vertical line from this to this base, and similarly from this point to this. So this is a component of vector along x-axis, so it will be termed as AX. And this is component of vector along y-axis, so it will be AY from this point to this point. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you will say this is theta, and adjacent to this particular theta, this term as base. Opposite to this particular theta will be this part, which is nothing but ay. So whenever you have any vector from here, you will split this particular term into two parts. First, a component adjacent to this will be termed as base component, and a component opposite to this will be termed as perpendicular component. So if you take first, cos theta is equals to base over hypotenuse, so it will be ax over a. So ax would be equals to a times cos theta as first part. And similarly, if you take sine theta, so it will be perpendicular over hypotenuse. So ay will be a times sine theta. So from here, just remember, whenever you have a vector or having a magnitude of vector is a, so a component adjacent to that particular theta will be cos component, and a component perpendicular or just opposite to that particular theta will be sine component. So in this part, I'm just splitted a vector into two components. So it will be termed as two-dimensional split. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Safan, any doubt? Savita, any doubt? I'm defining you similarly on another part. Let's say this is your support and this is vertical line. String having a ball of mass m, let's say inclined at some angle theta. So just draw a vertical line to it along this path and then extend this particular line along this path. So if you observe, this particular line is parallel to this, and this is your transversal. So this theta must be equal to this part according to corresponding angle. Is it clear?
Yes.
Now, in this part, this is along vertically downward, so it will be termed as mass times gravity or force experienced by gravity. Now, this particular term is adjacent to this particular theta. So whenever you have to calculate adjacent component, you just multiply it by cos theta. So it will be mg times cos theta. And another component perpendicular to it, so it will be sine component. So it will be mg times sine theta. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Aisha, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir. Done, sir.
Sabita. Okay. In next splitting, suppose if you have Let's say this as vector or having magnitude A, which is inclined at some alpha with respect to x-axis, at some inclination beta with respect to y-axis, and at some inclination gamma with respect to z-axis. So it will have one component along x-axis as ax, another component along y-axis as ay, and another component along z-axis as az. So this is along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So according to the last rule, if you have a vector and we have to calculate its component adjacent to this particular theta, so it will be termed as A times cos theta. Similarly, along y-axis, we have theta as beta, so it will be ay is equals to A times cos beta, and similarly, az is equals to A times cos gamma. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, suppose this particular vector A would have three components as ax, ay, and az. So it will be ax I cap, ay j cap, and az k cap. So if you want to calculate its magnitude, it will be mod of A is equals to root under ax square, ay square, az square. Now, if you're squaring both sides, it will be a square is equals to ax square, which is nothing but a square cos square alpha. Similarly, ay is equals to a square cos square beta, and az is equals to a square cos square gamma. Take out a as common, so this and this will be cancelled out. So you will get 1 is equals to cos square alpha, cos square beta, and cos square gamma. So this is a relation between alpha, beta, and gamma in three-dimensional splitting. So this is called three-dimensional splitting. Is it clear?
Yes.
Relation, suppose if you have A is equals to two I Now suppose if you want to calculate alpha and beta using this. So just use this first formula. Ax is equals to a times cos alpha. We'll say cos alpha will be equals to ax divided by e. In this vector, ax is just root 2 and is nothing but magnitude of whole vector. So it will be along this. It will be square of root 2. So it will be 2. Square of root 2 and square of minus 2. So it will be 4. So it will give you the root 2 divided by 8. So on solving, you will get 1 by 2. Cos alpha is equals to 1 by 2. So alpha will be. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is how we calculate alpha, beta, or gamma depending upon any component of vector. And there is a relation as cos square alpha, cos square beta, cos square gamma is equals to 1. Samara, is it clear? Is it clear to you all till this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Try to find try to find gamma. Same. Mariam, simplify it further. If you calculate cos gamma, so it will be z divided by e. Z is -2 divided by a is √a. So you get -2 divided by 2 √2. So you will cancel out. So you will get minus of 1 by √2. If you neglect this minus, so you will get 1 by √2, which is nothing but at 45 degree. So gamma will be equals to minus of 45 degree, or you will say 180 degree minus 45 C2. So it will be 135 degree. As I defined you in trigonometric part, cos will be negative in second quadrant, and in second quadrant, angle will be defined as 180 minus theta. Is it clear till this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sabita, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Aisha, are we done?
Yes, sir, done.
Okay. So let's stop here to this part. We have to continue, or we have to start a new topic. So we'll start in next class. Okay. So I will define you in next class about product of vector as dot product and cross product. So do you have any doubt till this
No,
Yes,
sir.
in this class?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.